used to electrify the village during the night time and also sometime during the day to meet their lighting and the fan loads. And this Urja Gram concept was further expanded to 18 such villages which were made Urja Grams. Given the success of the first demonstration wind farm in 1986, the second demonstration wind farm was set up in Okhamadi and Tuna at two places, Okhamadi in Jamnagar then and Tuna in Kutch. And that led to the setting up of the Asia's largest wind farm of 10 megawatt in Lamba, Jamnagar. This was a wind farm comprising of 50 numbers of 200 kilowatt wind machines, first of its kind. And that time, these were the new generation or that old generation, I should say, not new now because the new has changed to a large extent in 2020. We are talking of 1989. The turbine height was only 30 meters and so was the wind diameter, the rotor diameter 30 meters. But given the successful operation of this 10 megawatt first of its Asia's largest wind farm for a period of 3 years, that led to the formation of the policy of wind which will come in 1993. Immediately after this, Gujarat had also the credit of setting up the Asia's largest community biogas plant at a village called Methan in Sitpur Taluka of Mehsana district. And this was a village which was a blind follower of the Aga Khan. So there was a very homogeneous society which was the backbone of the successfulness of this community biogas plant. This biogas plant, which comprised of total 8 number of biogas plants in various locations of the villages connected to each other with an aggregate capacity of 630 cubic meter per day, which used to cater to 350 odd families in the village. And this used to provide 3 times biogas, early morning for the breakfast, lunch and dinner, and in for snacks also. And this village was a forerunner to many such biogas plants in Mehsana district, be it Motipura, Meloj, and many others to follow. And this was the biogas plant, first as I said, which ran successfully for more than 10 to 12 years before the entire population affluence grew, resources grew, and therefore they migrated from the non-conventional now to the conventional sources of energy with the ease of availability of the LPG cylinder, etc. But besides providing the cooking gas, this biogas plant was also a source of income for the Silver Jubilee Society that was exclusively formed for running of the biogas plant by the Aga Khan followers, which used to generate farmyard nutrient-rich manure also. And so rich was this society had become by the selling of the biogas and selling of the nutrient-rich manure, that they could purchase a tractor and trolley, because every day the morning activity was to collect dung from all the 350 households, feed to the 6 biogas plants and generate the biogas. So this was a very, very different kind of experiment, and even the ministers from the union ministers and the state ministers had come to the inauguration of this in 1991. Similar, many other Gujarat, as we know, that always has been, numero. Always it has, it's synonymous to number one. Many other programs, we have always been the number and continue to be number one. Similarly, another program was the Improved Cook Stove program, which also was a cause for helping the rural poor who had to spend for their time to get the cooking fuel by hunting the forest. Besides that, the conventional chula that they use for cooking the food, a study was conducted by one Mr. Cox Smith, who had come from Honolulu, United States of America. At the end of his research, he led to a conclusion that a housewife who is cooking for food for her family by sitting next to the chula, she smokes or she inhales as much smoke as a person who smokes 20 packs of cigarette a day, which is a cause of concern for their lung diseases, etc. And therefore that led to a invention or discovering of improved cook stoves, which besides reducing the fuel consumption to 50%, they were rendering smoke-free kitchens. And this program was also then become subsequently into the 25 program of the Government of India. And this program was implemented in Gujarat through the help of n number of voluntary agencies across the state, for which number of training programs to the masons, to the users were conducted with the help of the Home Science Department of the MSU, and conducting various training programs for this. As I said that the rural area was the focus, that the rural area should be the most benefited because they are the one who are deprived of various sources of energy compared to the urban people one. So the Planning Commission then came up with the concept of integrated energy planning program, wherein the concept was selected blocks of the states be taken up, a full energy survey of these blocks be done, and then in each of the blocks, the number of villages be selected where such various programs of energy can be implemented, so that their partial needs of energy can be met, and they are eased of various other facilities uh, in terms of their energy needs. Next, please. One of the aim of the energy agency was also to create awareness amongst the various masses and to uh, impress upon them the importance of the use of renewable energy. So that led us to a design of a demonstration van, which we thought can take ride throughout the state and demonstrate the various working equipments, working models, be it a solar cooker, a biogas plant, a working TV on solar panels, a gasifier. And this demonstration van used to go round and round at various places at the exhibitions or some fairs, demonstrations. And so popular it became that even the Government of India and many other states placed orders on JEDA for getting such wines fabricated for them, which we did for a couple of states in the subsequent years. Another focus towards agriculture was the gasification program, because in the rural areas, irrigation was the prime requirement of the farmers. And that time, as I said, that the electricity availability was very meager, and so was the diesel, because the farmers had to travel long distances to fetch diesel for running their pump sets. So then came a program of gasification for water pumping. So more than about 1,000 numbers of 5 and 10 HP gasifiers pumped, coupled with pumping systems were installed in the various states, various areas of the state, which ease the farmers for meeting their pumping needs whenever they required at a lesser cost, at a no lesser diesel cost, because these gasifiers were running on 70% producer gas generated through gasification process, which is a combustion of wood in a high temperature, so that you get a gas which is called a producer gas, which fuels the diesel engine by replacing the diesel to the extent of 70%. So the engine runs on 70% gas and 30% diesel, thereby saving diesel and also ensuring pumping requirements wherever the farmers need. So this pumping need was also extended to cooking, because the gasifier producer gas, as it is called, contains carbon monoxide also, which is hazardous. Some research programs were also taken up to for ourselves that this producer gas could also be used for cooking. And one such place in Vidyanagar, in the Swaminarayan temple, the kitchen was converted to a gasifier thermal cooking system, which was also quite successful. Similar other projects, because as the search of alternate fuels continued, and besides the conventional source like the cattle dung, etc., it was felt that some other sources of biomass should also be tried out to see whether they can generate energy. And therefore, through the help of Sardar Patel Renewable Energy Research Institute, which came to got its name late in 1990s. Before that, it was called a Jyoti Solar Energy Research Institute, which was also set up in 1982 at the behest of the first, the founder chairman then. They also, on behalf of JEDA, conducted various research experiments and developed the technology for converting the eucalyptus leaves or banana stem, water hyacinth, kitchen waste, and many other sources. And they had developed prototype models also, which were replicated at couple of places. So the research activities were also promoted then, for which we had a research evaluation committee headed by various stalwarts in the field, Dr. B.G. Desai, who was a strong supporter of energy conservation, Professor Girija Sharan from IIM Ahmedabad, and various other people who contributed a lot in the development of this sector. So this journey continued then with the performance evaluation of the first demonstration and this smaller demonstration with farms put up in early 85 to 90. And based on the performance and the satisfactory results of those demonstration wind farms, the government of Gujarat came up with the first ever wind power policy in 1993, which the private sector participation. Uh, which started in 1993, and first wind farm in the private sector was commissioned in December 1993, with Gujarat Gas setting up the first ever wind farm. And then the story then continued with various other policies followed in 2002, 7, 9, 13, 16. And from that journey of 1993, at the end of 2020, we have total capacity of 7,523 megawatt, which is second next only to Tamil Nadu. Then this journey continued with solar lanterns, Akshay Urja shops to be set up. All these devices which are being distributed in the rural areas, then the problem of their operation, maintenance, repairs came up. So therefore, a new concept was introduced that we set up Urja shops at various places in the states, where besides selling these Urja gadgets or the renewable energy gadgets at subsidized rate, they can also provide services and maintenance repairs required, if any, to these projects. So about more than a dozen of such Urja shops were set up in 1995 across the state, which were supported by the state as well as the central government. And that journey also continued again with promotion of wind energy, another demonstration wind farm set up at Rajkot district. And then, as I said, it journey continues up to 2020. As I again said that the promotion and dissemination of what you do is the most important. And then in 2002, when the dynamic Honorable Chief Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji came in as the Chief Minister, and when he came in first such a program of renewable energy, he gave us a concept that whatever you are doing is doing for the future generation, and therefore the most important thing is to generate awareness amongst the future citizen of the country, which are the students, the school-going students, and which gave the birth to the word, which was acronym for Bal Urja Rakshak Dal, which meant that this energy conservation and renewable energy dissemination should start from the budding citizen of the country. And therefore, every year we conducted and implemented this bird program, wherein every year we trained more than 50,000 school-going children, made them awareness, conducted various competitions, drawing competition, elocution competition, essay competition, which helped in building up an energy literate citizenry in the state, which has become energy conscious. Similarly, it was the Honorable Chief Minister then, Sri Modi ji, who also gave us a concept of setting up a solar city. And first such solar city was established in Gandhinagar, for which then the Tata Energy, the TERI, Tata Energy Research Institute had done its study for us, which on the basis of which Gandhinagar Solar City came up. And I am very happy to share with you that today Gandhinagar has almost 26.06 megawatt of solar installations, and in terms of energy, almost more than 12% of the energy of the Gandhinagar city comes from this solar installations. Besides solar power generation, the Gandhinagar city also has more than 67,000 liters per day of hot water systems and various other renewable energy systems. Taking the example of Gandhinagar, Surat and Rajkot have also have followed into the footsteps of Gandhinagar, and they are also the solar city, two more solar cities in the state of Gujarat. Then in 2009, because of the concern of the global climate change effects, those are happening all across the globe. It was our first climate change department that was formed in 2009 at the behest and at the vision of the then Chief Minister and the present Prime Minister Shri Modi ji, who has this subject of climate change very close to his heart. And as a result of this, the first climate change department, first ever such department in the country, even before the government of India had thought of such department, was set up for addressing the various issues of the climate change. Of having set up this climate change department, that was the turning point for the renewable energy sector. Next, please. And that turning point came in 2009 again, after the formation of the climate change department, that again the Honorable Chief Minister then was the first person to give a very bold solar policy in the country, even before the central government would have thought of it. And until 2009, we were talking only of kilowatt scale of solar gadgets in terms of solar lantern of few kilowatts and few numbers. But this 2009 created a revolution, I would say, in the area of solar energy, not only in the state, not only in the country, but I would say in the entire globe, because 2009 announcement of solar policy created overwhelming response in the country, in the globe, which had put the Gujarat state on the world map of solar energy. And then there was no looking back after that. All the number ones again came in, like following the solar policy of 2009, the largest solar park, first of its kind in Asia, was set up in Charanka, a village up north 250 kilometers from Ahmedabad, which is now housing today about 850 megawatt of solar plants. The first canal top solar plant, which has its own advantages of avoiding use of land, avoiding evaporation, and increasing the generation because of the coolness of the water flowing within the panels. 2014 also saw the revolution of use of solar pumps in the agriculture sector, with the government of India and government of Gujarat chipping in and providing good amount of financial assistance to the farmers. Those who are deprived of the connections for number of, so they were provided. More than 12,000 farmers have benefited by the solar pump agriculture now. Taking further the legacy of canal top, the first ever again 10 megawatt largest canal top solar plant was set up in Vadodara on the canal bank, which was also inaugurated by the Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon. And this year also saw the launch of the second solar policy as well as the launch of the battery operated vehicle schemes. Given the fact that the skyrocketing prices of the fossil fuels is increasing, there was a need to develop electric mobility as well. So that was a very modest effort done in 2015-16 to launch this scheme. In 16, we also launched a scheme of synergy between solar and agriculture, because allowing agriculture beneath the solar panels, therefore giving a multiple effect of agriculture yield as well as generation of electricity. 5 such demonstration plants of 1 megawatt which were set up across the state, which have yielded good results, which is now getting converted to in the name of Kusum and the decentralized scheme of the government of Gujarat. Waste to energy policy also has brought in a lot of importance for treatment of the municipal solid waste, especially in the metros. And this policy has helped most of the metros who have bidded out and awarded these work, and these plants are likely to come up in the next couple of years, which would, besides generating electricity, would also help the cities in removing the menace of the municipal solid waste and thus the pollution. 2017 was another milestone after the 2009. In 2009, the capital cost of the solar was close to 15 to 18 crores per megawatt, and wind was close to 6 to 8 crores per megawatt. But because of this bold step in 2009, and large capacities coming in uh, resulted into nose diving of the capital cost of the solar as well as the wind power, which led to the bidding regime of solar power and wind power both. And therefore, in 2017, the first ever wind bid came in, and which saw a price of 3.46 compared to the range of 4 to 5 rupees earlier, which was being given. So that became a regular phenomenon of bids, and many such bids have followed. And in future slides to come, we will see what effect it has done on the market. Sky scheme was another milestone which has helped many farmers to double their income, not only by ensuring their pumping need, but also during the spare time, generate electricity from the solar panels and feed it to the grid and get paid for the surplus electricity paid. So it is a kind of insurance to the farmers that during the season when there is no rains, they could ensure that they could generate more power and feed into the grid and get paid through the Sky scheme, which has become a boon to the farmers. Besides easing out to the state discoms also by saving on the cheaper electricity which otherwise it caters to the agriculture sector. Continuing the legacy of the promotion of the battery operated vehicles after the two-wheelers confidence gain, we launched the three-wheeler scheme, which also is picking up now, and in the years to come, we will make much progress in that. 2019 was a year to rejoice the solar rooftop in the state. The program which started in 2016 started yielding fruits. Of course, it had started yielding fruits in 2016 itself, but in 2019 it put the state in number one position after any other state or before any other state even had achieved 50% of what Gujarat has done, and therefore Gujarat continues to be leading in the solar rooftops as well. And 2019 was another milestone which saw ever record budget of 1,000 crores alone for the solar rooftops, and with a target of covering 6 lakh families. And this journey continues even after even to 2020. Uh, the journey that began from 1979 with meager of 2,000 megawatt of total installed capacity, reaching to 35,000 megawatt, and renewable capacity was 0 to 10,000 megawatt. And I am very proud to say that even the present Honorable Chief Minister Shri Vijay Rupani ji is carrying forward the legacy of his predecessors and is an ardent supporter of the renewable energy, and is continuing to do so by providing immense support by various new and innovative policies. So with this, now I'll quickly take you through the Shwetal. Am I running out of time, Shwetal?
Sir, please conclude, possible.
Well, I thought I have some more time, but nevertheless,
So quickly. So
sorry.
it is very interesting to listen this entire journey of the transformation. But we have some limited time left, so I'll request.
Okay, I have few more slides, but I think I will quickly go through them and then conclude. Thank you, Shwetal. Next, please. This probably most of the things I have covered in the earlier slide, that what are the sources of renewable energy, what are their applications. During the journey, I have covered most of them. Next, please. Besides renewable energy, we also have a very mega program in energy conservation, because energy conservation is also of equal importance. Every unit energy saved is a unit generated. So as much as we save, that is also good enough that we have generated. And those programs of energy conservation are as follows, which varies from BOVs to improved crematoria, energy efficient lighting, fans, energy audits in the industries, demonstration vans, performance achievement trade for large industries who are otherwise energy guzzlers, demonstrating to them use of energy efficient gadgets so that their payback period and their energy efficient use they do, thereby reducing the energy consumption. Next, please. I think we have talked of the renewable energy potential. Gujarat has the highest potential of solar and wind, each having a potential of 85 gigawatt. Biomass, hydro, tidal also having modest potential. And as we have seen that Gujarat has done enough to harness this potential. As I said, this is a potential map of wind energy. We can see that the coastal 1600 kilometer long coastal area has a huge potential of wind. Next, similarly, the tropical region that Gujarat is located in also poses it's a good radiation throughout the year. Next, which also gives a potential of 85 gigawatt, sorry. And the Gujarat for itself against the national target of 175 gigawatt has its target of 8,000 megawatt of solar power, 8,000 megawatt of wind power. Against that, we have achieved very significant number so far. Next, please. I have talked of these policies, except that the last two, these are the tools for the implementation of policy, the renewable purchase obligation and the renewable certificates. Obligations, all those people who generate power from conventional source of energy, they are required to buy certain percentage of their energy from renewable energy. So that is also a way and means to ensure that the capacity addition in the state takes place. Next, please. This is the regulation which next please. By 2022, we have the state obligated entities have to purchase 17% of their total consumption from renewable energy. And against this, next please. If you look at the achievements of RPOs in 1920, against the requirement of 14.3% RPO, we have achieved more than 12.9, which is close to plus 90%, which is a good sign. So we are complying, the entire state is complying with the purchase of renewable energy. Next, please. Compared to India, where do we stand in the renewable energy? As we can see that today our capacity is 10,000 megawatt, which is 30% of the total power capacity. And as Haider sir also in his opening remarks, as well as the chairman sir in their opening remarks, they have given this figure. So I'll skip this because most of this has already been talked about. Next, please. In the solar energy, we stand number 6. But as far as the rooftop is concerned, we are number 1, as I said. And you can see that we are way ahead all other states in the rooftop. In the wind sector, we are number 2 compared to all other states. Wind and solar put together, we are number 2 in the country. Next, please. These are the solar PV achievements over the years. I won't go through each and every year, but the total installed capacity is 3,000 plus megawatt as of the June. Next, please. Solar rooftop, these are the figures of 30th June, but if we consider as of today, against the 611, we have crossed is much more, and the 372 in case of residential has grown to more than 510 megawatt, catering to more than 1,38,000 numbers of beneficiaries covered so far. Next, please. Next is also this, as I said, that the 1,000 crore budget has been provided for the benefit of the households for them to install the solar rooftop system, and there is a good amount of subsidy provided by the state government as well as the central government, and we have a target to cover 8 lakh beneficiaries by the end of 2022. Next. What is the impact? I think this is the most important slide that the climate change department, the concern that we are working for, that all these projects that we do in terms of avoiding the carbon emissions and avoiding of coal make a significant impact. As you see, the solar power capacity is saving us more than 5 million tons of carbon dioxide, carbon emission into the atmosphere every year. Similarly, next, the wind. Before I go to the wind, you can see the trend. As I said, the regime of tariff has begun in 2017. What we began at 12 and 15 rupees a unit of solar. Now we are getting the same at 2.81, thanks to the bold initiative taken by the government of Gujarat and the then Honorable Chief Minister who led this policy, which otherwise would not have been possible to bring down this cost to 2.81 instead of 15 in the 2009. Next, please. Wind energy, as I said, again a good capacity has been added, 7523 megawatt as of today. Next, please. And the impact that it has created, it saves more than 15 million tons of carbon getting emitted in the atmosphere every year. Next. Similarly, wind also, which was highest tariff in 2017-18 at 4.9, the bidding region has fallen it, brought it down to less than 3 rupees, which is a good sign. Next, please. This is a quick glance of what we have achieved so far in terms of achievements. I think in each of the renewable energy sector, be it biomass, be it solar, be it wind, be it energy conservation, in every field, Gujarat has contributed its might, more than its might, and that shows the commitment of the state of Gujarat in taking further the sector of renewable energy and thus addressing the issues of the climate change to combat the threats of the climate change. This brings us to the last slide of the presentation, which is the way forward. Next, please. After here, what do we intend to do? That we intend to take the renewable energy capacity to 40% by the year 2022, which is at present we are close to 30%, and that 40% will come through various programs like the hybrid energy park, which was announced day before yesterday, 30,000 megawatt for which 60,000 hectares of land near the Pakistan border has been allotted, and in the next couple of years, that capacity would come up. Similarly, Dholera, Radhan, etc. All these are under implementation projects. Similarly, the decentralized solar power scheme. Besides these solar, there could be many other innovations also which can come in as a way forward for furthering the cause of the development of solar, including the floating solar, including other sectors like the offshore wind farm, waste to energy, electric mobility, and the energy conservation building code implementation. I think this is what I wanted to say all about the journey of renewable energy. Lastly, I would like to place on record my sincere thanks to all my seniors officers with whom I have worked so far